Welcome to Inkscape Part 2. So we're going to start off with some basic tools. This first tool is the black arrow. It's a direct selection. So it'll allow you to select items. Notice that I just clicked on it and then I'm going to select by drawing a box around it and then I hit delete. Because I really truly want to get out a rectangle. So I go to the rectangle tool. I just drew a rectangle. Now I can change the color by using the swatches on the bottom. Those swatches will also appear over on the side if you wanted to use that particular fill-in stroke to change the color. Next, if you click on your object and then you click on the corners, you can change the size, you can change the proportion. So there's some other buttons underneath the original main buttons we covered in the last video. The first one would be select all objects and all paths. There's a few other ones here. There's rotate. This is where you would rotate objects. Or if you wanted to flip something, this is not going to show anything. Flip horizontally or flip vertically. So this next tool down allows us to edit what we have on the artboard. So you'll notice that you can click on each one of the individual path handlers and you'll get kind of a way to change this from square corners to round corners. And you can do a few other things with this. So resizing, that sort of thing. Notice if you also want to just pick up the whole object, I'm going to do that here in a second with the black arrow or the direct selection tool, and then I'm going to position it where I want. So this allows me to position items wherever I want on the artboard. Notice the artboard is the area that has the box around it. That's actually the area that's going to print. Now I'm going to do some things with the pull downs at the top. So this would be the first pull down, and that is where you would save or print or import or export. So notice here, this is the import and export. If you're going to import in an object and then draw on top of it, that's where you would do it. So this is the edit menu. You can use cut, copy, paste. I like to use the keyboard shortcuts, which is Command C to copy and Command V to paste. You can delete things, select things in here as well. Underneath the view window, oh, sorry, I just wanted to talk a little bit about undo. Undo is underneath the edit. Underneath the view, you'll see a couple of view selections. The layers pull down menu, we'll talk a little bit about layers in the future. Objects. So you need to know that all kind of things inside of Inkscape are objects. So sometimes it'll just open up windows that maybe you've already asked for. A couple of things that you do need to know about are group and ungroup. So sometimes we want to group an object. So this here, I have this orange rectangle here. I'm going to put a colorful circle on top. We'll change it to green. And then let's say you wanted to move these two objects together later on. You didn't want them to move separately. What you would want to do is you would want to group these together. Notice that the green circle is on top of the orange rectangle. So to group it, you would go up to Object and then Group or Command G to group. And then that whole thing would move as one unit. To ungroup that, go back up underneath Object and then hit Ungroup. And then those two objects will freely move without each other stuck together. You could also do some rotating in here if you wanted to say put something on top of something else. So let's say you want the circle underneath the rectangle on top of the circle, then I would go into Object and hit Raise. and make sure that you're only selected on the object that you want to bring to the front. It's called raise or lower, raise to top, or lower to bottom. So this next area, or once we get to path, what you want to deal with is the what we would call in Illustrator the Pathfinder window. So you can take and start combining shapes together. So if I have both of these shapes selected, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my Shift key to multiple select, then I'm going to unite these two shapes together. Notice that the orange circle and the square are now a new shape that has taken on the green of the original shape. A lot of these are going to work in different kinds of ways. You just have to kind of check it out. What you want to do is you want to select both of those with the multiple selection, and then you can go in and use the Pathfinder tool. So again, moving down the windows, that's the path window. If we move to the next one, it's going to be text. So if you want to look at some of your text options, that will add that to the bottom of your kind of extensions menu over here on the side. I can choose any kind of font, I can choose any kind of style, and then I can go in here and I can do some of the things to that. There's also a set of filters in here, which I don't usually use in this particular program. Extensions, we do have some other extensions that you can use as well, but I'm not going to go too far into that in this video. So that's basically the tools and menus in Inkscape.